what's up? What's going on? Little NBA hardwood action today. We got Mangone, we got DC. It's Holden. Hope everybody's having a spectacular, what is today? Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, it's great. No problem. Guys, just dumped $3,200 on a new computer. Really excited about that. Nothing less exciting than having to buy a new freaking MacBook this many years later. It's snowing down by me. I don't know what it's like by you. It's been snowing here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now, DC. Now, you're a little west of the city, but dude, Denver, or as the dumbasses like to call it, Memver, we got some snow today, baby. I like it.
Just rain here for now, but that can obviously change quickly in Denver. I think it's supposed to be nice the rest of the week, so hopefully not too much snow. I did the new computer thing last year. It did make a big difference in my show stability, performance, so that was nice. And today's my first show with I finally bit the bullet. I got a sit-stand desk, right? So you can adjust it up and down. I'm standing right now. Which is kind of the last thing I want to do after, spending 7 to 10 miles in the mountains most mornings. But I needed it for the old back, for the flexibility, all that stuff. So getting used to it, and excited to break down today's monster 14-game NBA slate. I guess the players can't play when it's election day, which seems weird to me. But regardless, making it up for today with a kind of a double slate, I guess you will, on this Wednesday night. We
don't need to go down that road, DC. We'll just leave it at that. Yep, that's the first thing. Second of all, you're getting close to being on the old guys pod, dude. If you could keep complaining about your back and how tired you're getting. I mean, that is just old man jargon.
I'm just saying, and also for anyone else that's been considering, this is a nice piece of equipment, half off at Costco. So I got this thing, which seems really nice, for $150, which seems like a pretty good idea. So anyone that's considering it, maybe head to your local Costco and invest in your long-term, back health, if you will.
Is it a whole desk or just a Veridesk? Because I got a Veridesk.
It's a whole desk.
My God. Wow.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mangone's just bored out of his freaking mind. Look at him. He's like, I cannot believe they're talking about bad backs and desks and computers. Yeah. What's happening, Mangone? Is it snowing by you? You're closer to me. I mean, it's just nonstop here. It's coming down for an hour and a half, 2 hours now.
Yeah. Rubio also said in the chat, came here for basketball takes, staying for the Costco deal. So,
love it.
Looking like an old guy himself. Yes, it is snowing here, Holden. I actually just got off of playing Fortnite with our guy Rubio. We were playing some games before everything, and we were sweating some soccer as well. And it was a fun time. So enjoying that and just enjoying the season, right? This is the time of year where there's tons of sports going on. Sweating soccer, sweating NBA. We got a lot going on, and humongous 14-game slate, right? I mean, this slate is massive. Not going to be the easiest to navigate, but we'll do our best to help you out. We got the Up to Lock show. We got all the content at Run Pure Sports. And listen, I am not a fan that they take off on the election day. I did not go and get like a sticker, for voting or anything like that. But I'm ready for NBA to start back up.
There's no chance in hell you went and voted in the midterm elections. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
He would never. He doesn't even know how to vote.
I didn't either. I'm not shaming you, but there was no way you did either.
The first time I ever voted, I was my mom was like, "Have you voted yet?" And I said, my tank needs some gas, right? Like I needed some motivation. I don't got a lot of money right now. I'm an 18-year-old. I said I need some gas money. And so mom helped me out with that in order to do that when I was younger. Gave them some incentive for me to go vote because I didn't want to vote. So I'm not a big voter.
All right. You know what? I think I'd rather go on a picnic than play Fortnite and watch soccer. That sounds like the worst time in the history of the world. Like seriously.
It was a great time, Holden.
Oh my God. Fortnite and soccer? Like what could be worse? What could be better?
I mean, I'm gambling, and I'm playing video games. What's better than that? I mean, that's not what you did at the office, DC.
Are they back to the original map on Fortnite? You got tilted towers. That's like when I used to play way back.
Yeah. So it's the original map, DC. And so me and Rubio were like trying to play one last game, and this guy joined my party. I had no clue who he was.
This is for extending this conversation, DC. This is your ass getting blocked by an old man in shorts and a belt. This is what you get. This is what you get for not putting an end to the conversation and trying to continue it, damn it.
I'll talk about Fortnite for 30 minutes if it would get you.
No, please don't.
Don't try.
DC, we ended with a 30-kill win, and the reason why was
come on, Mangone, stop it already.
I didn't know who the person was, and it was like one of my buddies.
Oh.
Gosh, I can't stop it. Oh, it's a lot of fun.
So awful. It's so awful, guys. Yeah, I'd love to screw around for a whole bunch of time, but we can't. We got 14 games. We got the Up to Lock show coming up. I do want to promote a couple things for myself, though. Old Guys Pod is out. Did go to vote yesterday, voted against putting a McDonald's in my town because we don't want fast food restaurants here bringing in the people into our town, Mangone. So no fast food in my town.
I have McDonald's in my town, and I go there.
Well, of course, where you live, I know. Yeah, you're not coming to my place and putting up a fast food restaurant. I'll tell you that.
Is that specifically something you could vote on? McDonald's or
where
no
do you
McDonald's?
live? You have fast food restaurants all over where you live. What are you
There's one, and it was grandfathered in from the 60s. And trust me, we're all trying to we voted 2 years ago to make them, just redo the whole thing so it looks nice. We don't want McDonald's.
Which fast food place are you talking about?
There's a Wendy's here.
What town are you in? There's definitely fast food.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you what town I'm in. All right? I'll tell. I'm not telling everybody else that.
I got to say, quit bitching about our Fortnite talk. If you're talking about the
fuck
shit
you.
on your ballot, by the way. Don't talk about your political ballot. Get out of here.
What do you mean? My fight was to I can't talk about the prostitution, but I will say legalize it. McDonald's, we don't want it here in town. That's all I'll say. Like button would be great. We'd really love that. Give us the like button. And if you haven't signed up for Run Pure Sports, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. It's like we tell you 20 times the show, and then you keep losing, and then you sign up, and you're like, oh, there's great stuff going on over here. I'm reading the playbook right now. No, I'm not. You know why? Because I just X'd out of it on accident. But like the playbook, who did the playbook today, guys? It's beautiful.
Gary.
Beautiful. Gary, you did an amazing job. 14 games, breaks down every single team. He tells you who's in, who's out, who's questionable, who's probable, who's doubtful. And that's about it.
Speaking of 14 games, you want to talk about Fortnite again?
Yeah. I don't even know what a sissy libtard is. But Cody H., that was mean.
That was very good.
And that was the slogan for our mayor here in town. Yep, 100%. So, guys.
Someone say it's the same thing.
Huh?
Someone say it's the same thing.
I don't know who would say that. Only you, Mangone, would say. Only you would say that. Like button, sign up for the site. It'll be great. 14-game slate. Before we get into everything, what are your favorite games tonight, Mangone? Talk to me here. There's 3 or 4 that really stand out, and I want to know which ones you're on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of the injury news with not injury news, but the CJ McCollum stuff is really big, right? But the biggest spot on the slate is the Washington Wizards, right? We're attacking them. It's not playing them. It's more so attacking them with the Charlotte Hornets, with the Terry Rozier injury. So that's probably the spot that we're going to have the most exposure to, followed by the New Orleans Pelicans. So those will be the 2 spots that will probably get the most love, the most conversation on today's show.
Yes, Mr. DC. I heard nothing Mango just said there. I was talking with the chat. I'm sure I'll find out, but I'm going to listen to you. What games are you on today?
I mean, those first 2 games on the entire slate. There's 2 games that locked at 7 Eastern time. One is the Wizards and the Hornets. I mean, 2 of the very worst defenses in basketball. I think I've been talking about it since day one. I mean, the Wizards are just like you got to take numbers in NBA with a grain of salt early on. Small sample size. It's a make or miss league. You know who you've played, all that stuff. But like, it was obvious from the Wizards roster construction that they just weren't going to be able to play any defense. Both these teams playing at a fast pace, 240 total. And then Utah, Indiana. I mean, don't overlook that one. A 242 total, which I believe is the highest on the entire season. And a little bit of injury news there with Walker Kessler out too. Like a monster 14-game slate. But I do think, Mangone, if you're playing, 1 or 3 or whatever tournament lineups, you do have the option of kind of, piecing out on the 14 games and making your lineups a couple game stacks on these early ones, and Big T 777. Hope you get there early, make other people run you down. I do think that's a decent option today, especially this Washington Charlotte game. I'm really into this one. I'll have a game stack or 2 of it for sure. So, I think this slate's going to start off on fire. We're going to see a lot of flame emojis in the early lineups. And if you're backloading or whatever, you're going to have to run some people down, because I think these early players are going to put up some big numbers early on in the slate.
That was the other thing we voted on, was like what emojis DraftKings and FanDuel should start using. And fire was not one of them anymore. DC, we don't want fire anymore. We want something.
Fire emoji. What do you want instead of a fire emoji?
Want like a flamethrower, like you know how we have in our thing. JBC brought the one dude that puts his. We should have like live emojis there, like a dude throwing a flamethrower out there, or like Elsa from Frozen, something like that. Let's evolve in the DFS game, not sit here what we're doing. All right.
We had Fortnite references and Frozen references so far.
Oh no, this is
start here on a 14-game slate. So we should get moving.
We should, but I'm here, so that's the problem. Anyway, Steve does not like politics talk, even when it's a joke. Lighten up, Francis. We have Utah and Indiana to start, boys. Let's get to this game. Again. Jazz and Pacers, 6.5 point spread, 244 the total. So a nice hearty total tonight. Mangone, I'm going to start with you here tonight. And I want to get your thoughts on Markkanen and whether or not he's in play for you.
Yeah, I mean, Lauri Markkanen's definitely in play. He's going to be contrarian. Is he like a top play on the board? No, he's not like a top play on the board, but I think he's in play. Obviously, the Utah Jazz, they're in that spot where I've kind of talked about it, right? Pretty much every single slate, it's who's playing Indiana. I think that's an important discussion, and who's playing Washington. And this is obviously one of the spots that we have to look at. We have to consider Jordan Clarkson at 6.2K. I don't think he is a bad play, but his floor ceiling is definitely it's a very wide range, right? You don't feel super comfortable with playing him at times, especially at 6.2. When he was 5'4", I felt a little bit better. I do think it's a little bit of a steeper tag. So, and I think guard's a really good position today in general, and it's 14-game slate. I think most positions will feel pretty strong, but I don't know if I want to take the chance there. The reason to take a chance on a Lauri Markkanen at his prices, honestly, spend up forward is not the greatest position just in general, right? I think for most slates, you'll see a lot of people play some value guards, some spend up guards, and forward feels like the spot where you want to save salary, just because the stud forwards are not typically as great as the guards, just in general. We do have Giannis on this slate and a lot of studs, but it's just more of a overall theme that I have noticed kind of on the slates. It seems like Rizza is saying in chat, this slate is extremely straightforward, but the forward position normally feels pretty obvious where a lot of people are going, and they've been saving a lot at that position, it feels like. So Lauri would be an interesting contrarian spend-up option. Indiana, I'll say this, Tyrese Halliburton has been an absolute monster this season. Gets a good matchup against Utah, definitely on the flow chart as well. I haven't looked at it yet, but I know Utah always. You look at a slate, Utah is always the point guard, is one of the flow chart plays. It's definitely a good spot to go to because we can target them there. The big debate that you have with Indiana, Utah, and I think with a lot of these higher total games sometimes, is if this game does blow out, well, you won't get the scores that you're hoping for. And yes, guys can get there and blow out, but Halliburton the other day, when that Spurs game blew out, 152 to 111, only played 27 minutes, got you 42. Was 42 DK points fine? Yes, it was fine. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. But as a stud option and at his ownership, I don't think it was worth it. Now, Halliburton won't have the ownership he had on the past slates. LaMelo Ball will be the chalky guy on the slate, who we'll talk about as we get there. But I think Tyrese Halliburton is a really good tournament option that has a really nice ceiling. And you could argue everyone wanted to play him in that last game. If he went for 65 points again, I bet you anything his projection would be pushed even more. So I think Tyrese Halliburton is a really good contrarian tournament option on the board that we should not be ignoring. And then Miles Turner, definitely a good tournament play. Only issue is he can sometimes not keep his hands to himself. And that's a problem with him. When he's low owned, I want to get exposure to Miles Turner. When he's higher owned, I'm not as excited to play him. And I should mention too, Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk at his price of 4.5K. That price tag is just too cheap for this matchup against Indiana.
DC, did you ever have a problem keeping your hands to yourself?
A lot of problems. I think that one was not one of them. So
that's at the bottom of the list. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
listen, the Wizards can't play defense. We'll get to them in just a moment. And I can't wait to get your thoughts there. But let's get to this Jazz Pacers game. And, I got Mangone's thoughts on Markkanen as a contrarian spend up. Where do you want to go in this game, if anywhere?
I mean, I think almost everyone in this game that's going to get reasonable minutes is in play. That's what happens when you get a 243 total. That said, on a 14-game slate, first of all, no 14-game slate is extremely straightforward. Just let me address that comment in the chat for one. And two, I do think that you have to take a little bit of a different approach to a 14-game slate. In that, if you're playing, the flagship DK tournament where there's 35,000 entries that you're competing with, you're going to need a monster score on a 14-game slate with that many teams playing to win. So, some of the value plays, Mangone, the 3.9K type value plays that, you're hoping can get you 18 to 20 points. I don't think you can win on this slate in a large field tournament with a low score like that, even if the rest of your lineup goes off. I think you need kind of upside from everywhere. So I did want to address that point, just general construction wise. But the main thing that I'm attacking here is the Utah front court. Indiana giving up a ton of points at the rim in general. We'll see what Utah does with the starting lineup. I don't think they've said yet. Markkanen has been starting at the 3 with Collins at the 4, Kessler at the 5. I assume Markkanen here, Mangone, moves to the 4, and then maybe, and they start John Collins at the 5. They could also put Olynyk just straight up in the starting lineup for Kessler, right? And they really haven't been playing other bigs other than those 3 guys much at all. So you do have a potential situation for Kelly Olynyk here, who's averaging over a fantasy point per minute, by the way, in a good matchup, possibly in the starting lineup, playing 30-plus minutes, 4,500. I think he's interesting. I like John Collins, too, at 6K, especially if he starts at center in this matchup. Not sure that'll happen, but I think it's possible at least. So Utah, definitely a team to watch early on. And then everyone else here is in play, too, but I do think it's Tyrese Halliburton. I love targeting these backcourts. We'll talk about it in the next game or when we talk about Washington, Charlotte, too, where they just don't have, any options to slow down a guy like Halliburton, right? It's Clarkson or Horton Tucker. Neither guy has any hope against a guy like Halliburton who will roast whoever they put on him. So really, really good game to start it off here. But the thing I'm watching most closely is what Utah does with that front court. I think there's going to be some really strong plays to kick it off early on with the big guys from Utah.
Bradley Beal expected to play. I'll try throwing those up there in the chat. I don't like throwing it over DC's face when he's talking, but Beal is expected to play tonight. So there you go with that. Game number 2, we got the Zards, the Washington Wizards visiting Charlotte tonight. Mangone. It looks like there's a bunch of goodness from that one. 241 total. I know Gary's on Daniel Gafford. Where are you going with Gafford? Where are you going with this game? How much are you going to invest in it?
Yeah, so one thing I struggle with sometimes is what to do with someone like LaMelo Ball in this spot. I mean, it's a great spot. I'm not doubting it at all. It's a really, really good spot for someone like him. But LaMelo Ball is a very high ceiling but low floor guy, right? There's a lot of ways.
I don't know, man. God, I disagree with the floor take in this particular matchup with Rozier.
I agree. This matchup's different, but there are ways LaMelo Ball can fit, right? He can get into foul trouble, right? That's certainly a route. I know you're shaking your head, DC, but did you see Tyrese Halliburton the other day against the Spurs? Everyone thought this was a great spot, amazing, and he didn't win you the slate, right? Did he lose you the slate? No, but you are using your salary. It's a 14-game slate. There's a lot of contrarian studs that you're going to have the ability to go up and get. I'm not saying he's a bad play. He's a very, very good play. But you do have to think about if you play him and then you play another stud up top, I just don't know if it's the greatest idea. But I think he's in play. He's not someone that is I definitely have a bias against him. I think, Ant Edwards was better than him and everything like that. But I just think LaMelo Ball's floor, when he has high ownership, is something to at least have a conversation about. I think it's a big talking point, especially when you use your salary in that way. I think if you do see small ball lineups tonight, I think it's an amazing spot for someone like Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, it's a really good play. Definitely want to get exposure to him. I think Jordan Poole will likely be lower owned, but I think Kuzma is the guy that I would rather get to. I think a lot of these Hornets guys are decent filler options. PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward. I love this spot for someone like Brandon Miller off the bench. I think he could be a really good play at lower ownership. The only problem is, you know what the downside can be. The minutes have been really strong, but there is downside for sure.
He's going to start. He's going to start, by the way. Brandon Miller.
Rozier out. He's starting.
Yeah, I think he started. He probably started last game, I would assume.
Yeah, he did.
His role's been really nice for sure, especially off the bench. Like he's chucking up a bunch of shots, everything like that. But this is a really good game environment for him, right? Against a bad team that plays no defense, and he's willing to chuck again. So I think Brandon Miller, definitely a good play. All in all, this is a really, really good game to target. But I do think you want to think about how you play it. Like, for instance, DC brought up good points at the start of the show. One thing I don't mind is if you just kind of load up on this game, right? Like, you're definitely going to be, like, more overweight than the field, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people are playing, like, right now I'm noticing, like, a lot of teams go 2 or 3 Charlotte Hornets. I mean, what if you went, you know, 5 or 6, right? Like, you just go a little bit heavier. It's kind of like in football where Big T just loaded up on that Houston game, right? He didn't just play 3 guys in that game. He didn't play a quarterback, receiver. He played a quarterback, a running back, a tight end with 2 receivers, right? So it's just going a little bit heavier on this game, like DC was talking about. So a lot of good plays in this game, but I would just say think about how you play them. I think it matters for sure on a 14-game slate. This isn't like a 5-game slate. Everyone's gravitating towards this game. It's a good game, but there's 14 games. Like I said the other day with the Pistons. The Pistons were chalk, and I was in the Discord chat, and I said, listen, I don't know exactly what I'm doing with the Pistons yet, but one thing I'll say is I'm not loading the boat on them. I think it's a better spot just get a couple in, maybe get 2 in, don't get 3 in. And I think those are things just to think about with the Charlotte Hornets here. Maybe either go a little under the field or over the field. But I think a lot of people are loading up on this game, and I either want to be one way or the other. My lean is to go a little under, I think. Maybe just get like 1 or 2 pieces and then a run back, or maybe just 1 piece of the Hornets. Because, again, it's a loaded slate. There's so many ways to go.
All right, DC, let's get your thoughts here. Kind of had a little back and forth with Miller, you and Mangone. Mangone, by the way, big ups to you. Great energy today. No, I don't expect any yawning from you. You look like you drank a couple of Mountain Dews before you came on. I'm very excited. I'm probably ready for you. It's Red Bull. I'm sure you had 6 to 8 of those. It's great to see you.
I did have one earlier.
Great to see you awake for a change. DC, yes, my friend. Talk to me here. Game number 2, and we'll start with Washington.
Yeah, I think the popular side is going to be Charlotte here, and I do agree with that. I love Charlotte; they're my favorite team on the day. But I wouldn't avoid Washington either. I mean, we've seen this Charlotte team be a team you want to attack for years, especially when LaMelo's playing. They really push the pace in that situation, and you know, the Wizards have had mostly tough matchups to start the year. Look who they faced. I mean, last 5 games, which is 5 of the 6 they've played, at Philadelphia, at Miami, at Atlanta, Boston, and Memphis. Like, that is a pretty brutal 5-game stretch. And I do think it's holding back some of these Washington guys' numbers. Their minutes always haven't been there, partly because they haven't played well, right? They've lost some games by blowout, whatever it is. We have seen, though, when they've played well or when the individual players have played well, the minutes for these guys can be there. So Tyus Jones, who's kind of been all over the place minutes-wise, I think he's got minutes upside here. I like him at 5,600. I think Jordan Poole, who we know can go absolutely off. He's had, you know, he's been okay DFS-wise, 37 in his last 2 games. Against Miami and Philadelphia, though, on the road, this looks like a spot where he could go absolutely off. And then the other guy for Washington, I do kind of think they got a little bit of a big 3. Kyle Kuzma, again, averaging 28 minutes per game on the year. If he's playing well and this game is close, he's playing way more than 28 minutes. You're looking at 35, 36 at least, I think, minutes for Kyle Kuzma. So I think there's some even kind of almost like hidden production for some of these Washington Wizards that people are overlooking. I think they're underprojected. I actually think both sides of this game are a little bit underprojected. So yeah, I ranked the Wizards, Kuzma 1, Poole 2, Tyus Jones 3. I don't even mind Daniel Gafford. Played 30 minutes last game. It's a good matchup for him too at 4,900. So that's the Wizards side. Even Avdia playing really well right now. The minutes haven't quite been there for him, but that could change. I'm in on the Wizards, and then I mentioned I like the Charlotte side even better. You take Terry Rozier out of the equation. This doesn't happen for every team, but like LaMelo Ball does split playmaking duties, shot-making duties with Terry Rozier. With him out, man, it's all LaMelo Ball. 23 potential assists in that last game. The shot attempts go up. It's averaging 42 fantasy points per game in 31 minutes per game so far. Now we know after that 39-minute game against Dallas, the minutes limit is off of LaMelo Ball. It's also obviously it is for pretty much all of these Charlotte guys, but a perfect matchup against Washington. I think in particular for LaMelo Ball with the pace of the game. And then, I mean, Mangone, you know this. You watch a lot of basketball. LaMelo loves to just jack up threes whenever he gets any opportunity whatsoever. He'll either be guarded by like 6'0" Tyus Jones. LaMelo's like, what? Is he 6'7", 6'8"? I mean, he can shoot over him anytime he wants. Or Jordan Poole. It's one or the other. They're sticking on LaMelo Ball. He should be able to get up his shot anytime he wants, and he is not hesitant to do so. So I love LaMelo Ball here. But it doesn't stop with him. Gordon Hayward, he had to pick up the kind of Terry Rozier secondary playmaker role in this offense with Rozier out last game. 14 potential assists, 8 actual ones for Gordon Hayward, who we'll see how long it lasts, but he's been playing pretty damn well to start the year, now in an elevated role. I think Brandon Miller starting for Rozier, I think is what will happen almost certainly, is a good play. I don't mind PJ Washington. I don't mind one or the other of Mark Williams or Nick Richards. Actually, I think both guys are pretty good plays at their price points. Certainly Williams going to be the more popular one, but Richards not that far behind him in minutes per game, and that could kind of go either way, I think, based on how they play. So, like I said at the top of the show, I see a potential very, very juicy game stack here. And if this game stays close, or you get the great run out with the overtime, it is is it a 1-point spread here, 2-point spread? I wouldn't be surprised to see the winner of the slate have 7 guys from this game in their lineup. I think it's in play. I don't think you can say that very often for a huge slate like this, but I'm absolutely in on this game. And yeah, if you want a fun thing to root on early in the slate, load up on this game, and you'll be off to the races. I'll certainly be doing it on a decent amount of my lineups myself.
241 total. Yeah, go for it, man. Go.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to mention this. So, like, one, I come in and everyone thinks, oh, I hate LaMelo Ball. I don't hate him on this slate, right? The point I want to get at is if you play, right, I'm going to name LaMelo Ball, okay? He's going to be over like 30%. You play Kyle Kuzma, will probably be over 20%. You play Gordon Hayward, right, who's going to probably be over 20% as well. And you play PJ Washington, probably over 20%. You use a lot of your salary. And then there's just not ways to get different. So my point is there's really good plays in this game, but I don't want to spend all my salary on these plays. And then all these other pieces that are my differentiation pieces, they're all like 4K guys. Because then from there, you're going to plug in Kelly Olynyk, right? He's one of the better values on this slate. You're going to plug in a Jordan Hawkins, who just had 30 real-life points in that game as a value. My point is, I think you want to play some plays in this game, but my biggest fear is when you load up on too many of them, like you're saying, DC, I just think you lose the ability to get different with some expensive pieces, and it's a 14-game slate.
Certainly.
I don't know.
But this game could also be 70-70 at halftime, and it's just like nobody can catch you. Like,
I know, but it's going to have so much ownership compared to all these other games that, like, I just think you have to think a little bit about it, because it's 14 games. There's so many studs. Like, one thing I'm going to do when I build out my teams today, I'm going to go to all the studs, right, on the slate, like Nikola Jokic. I'm going to look at his ownership and be like, hey, he's not going to be super high owned. Luka Doncic against the Toronto Raptors, he's going to be virtually unowned. I'm going to bump all of these studs projections that are very, very low owned, and I'm going to bump them just a little bit. And if I get more of them, that's great. It's going to give me the ability to get different with my studs, and I think that matters. And
I guess my point Mangone was more like, you don't have to stack this game. Obviously, it has downsides, but if you don't want to pay attention to every single late swap piece you could make for 14 games and all night long, like I think game stacking this game, Washington and the Charlotte Hornets, is plus EV. That's my point. I think you can stack this game in a lot of different ways in a positive, expected way and not have to deal with too much of the later stuff. That's, you could disagree. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is my opinion on this game.
No, yeah. I mean, I think you can. I certainly think you can do it. The point I was getting at was like, when you get different, then because if you do game stack this game, you're likely spending a lot of your salary.
Sure.
The only way to get different is with your cheap guys, and the difference in projection between maybe like a 3 and 4K guy, their differences in projections could be so large that like, I think on these 14 game slates, one of the key things is to figure out who are these low owned studs that can just win you the slate that no one's going to be on, that shouldn't be this low. It's just criminal how low some of these guys are going to come in.
Okay. Like button would be great. It'll give us a sense of self-validation. Second of all, we've got the DC like that one. Celtics Sixers is our next game to talk about. So here's the deal. I just thought about this, Mangone. The Celtics and the Sixers, huge rivalry when I was a kid back in the 1800s. I'm going to give you 3 names. Okay. And you got to pick the one that played for the Sixers in the 1980s. Okay. We're going to find out the real Mangone. Cliff Livingston, Maurice Cheeks, Byron Scott. Which one played for the Sixers? Livingston, Cheeks, or Scott?
I think Cheeks played a little bit for the Sixers.
Oh, Mangone! Fuck yeah, man!
Also, Byron Scott, he played for the Lakers, correct?
Very good. Cliff Livingston?
That was one. I thought when you said Cliff, I thought of Cliff Floyd. I was like, we're in trouble.
Let me also ask you this. If you had one game to watch, Celtics, Sixers, top 2 teams in the East, or Wembanyama at Madison Square Garden?
I mean, I'm going to watch I'll probably watch that in the playoffs, Boston and Philly. So I'll watch Wembanyama, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see that playoff series. But I'm a Celtics fan. Actually, this is the first game when I was a kid I ever went to. I watched Sixers. I was in Philadelphia, went to Sixers. Yep. The first basketball game I ever saw, it was Paul Pierce versus Allen Iverson. And this is what I said, Holden. I said, my favorite team will be whoever wins this game. And Paul Pierce beat Allen Iverson. So that's why I became a Celtics fan, because they were my 2 favorite players. But
very nice.
Now you don't have 30 seconds to get back in your life. But
first of all, don't worry about it. I'm the one that's hosting the Up to Lock show, so we have tons of time to waste on your silly stories. Second of all, Riz's Collectibles. No, he never played in Portland. What are you talking about? Cliff played in Atlanta. All right, who cares about that?
Yeah, I'll be quick, Holden. I'll be very quick with this.
Take your time.
I think it's easy. I think the only idea I'm really interested in is a spend up contrarian and beat option, who I don't think a lot of people will gravitate towards. And the Celtics is just a little bit tougher for me to kind of get there. Derek White is back. If you want the baby narrative, go ahead. But I just don't think it's necessary to get to too many Celtics right now. They've fallen in MME. That's perfectly fine, but I'm not loading up on those guys.
Ben Simmons is out. He nicked his vagina while shaving. That's unfortunate, DC. We'll get to that in a little bit, but what do you got on the Celtics and the Sixers tonight?
I'm pretty much with Mangone. This game is a pass for me. Both teams healthy. I think this game slows down a bunch in pace. Been on the Tyrese Maxey train all season long. I'll jump off here with the tough defense, Drew Holiday, all that stuff. I do think the best play in this game by far, though, is Joel Embiid. Toasted the Celtics last year, and I do think, given the tough matchup for Maxey, and I think a slower pace of game does benefit Embiid. I think he's the one guy that you can look toward here. We've seen the ceiling from him. He's capable, I think, for sure, still of 70-plus fantasy points, of being the top scorer on the entire slate. And you're going to get him at what? 5% ownership, something like that, Mangone. So I personally probably won't have Embiid or much of this game at all, but he is, I think, the best tournament play on this game by far.
All right, I'm coming right back at you here, DC. We're going to get you going. Cam Thomas has been going absolutely bananas. We've got the Clippers at the Nets. Again, no Ben Simmons in this game. Thomas is 7K. Is he second in the league in scoring? Did I read that right earlier today? Like he's going nuts, DC. Is he going to be popular? And even if he is he going to be on a roster of yours tonight?
I played a ton of him against Milwaukee, which obviously paid off. 59 fantasy points, 33 shot attempts. Milwaukee, by the way, you just want shooters against that team until further notice. I'll be off him here. I don't think he's a bad play at 7K, given what he's doing. Like, it's just anyone that's putting up these kind of numbers at just 7K, despite the matchup, has to be a reasonable option to go to, but it won't be for me on this particular night. I'm off of this game in general. Brooklyn, yeah, I mean, if you're not playing Thomas, who are you going to, right? I do think he is the best play on Brooklyn overall. And then the Clippers, I mean, there's just no way I'm playing these guys when they've got Westbrook, Harden, George, Kawhi. Who's it going to be on any given night? I can't imagine there's going to be many games going forward where all four of these guys play, in the same game, at least until we get to the playoffs. But for this game, they are. And I just can't get there. I also think the Clippers going to slow it down a little bit with James Harden, playing significant minutes. Just can't get there with the Clippers right now. And I will say this, too. Cam Thomas, I mean, the Clippers are going to be aware of what he's done, right? He's probably going to be the primary guy that they kind of want to stop. He'll see either Paul George or Kawhi Leonard probably for every minute he's on the court. Two great defenders. I'll look elsewhere on a 14-game slate.
All right, Mangone, it's up to you now. Clippers, Nets, Cam Thomas, or nothing. By the way, shout out to Mangone. If you're not a subscriber, you're going to want to sign up because he has the ultimate play at center tonight. In what was it, your 3 max that you put up there? It was pretty good stuff. I really enjoyed it. So if you do not have access to RPS, you're missing out on Mangone's play, and I hope he does not give it out here on the show. Anyways, Mangone, what about this one?
Yep, you're missing out on all the plays if you don't sign up. So use that code NBA15 to get you 15% off. But yeah, this game is interesting a little bit because of the Ben Simmons stuff, right? With Ben Simmons not playing. Last game out, they only played 9 guys. So if they stuck with that, and I'm not saying they will, but if they stuck with that, it would be an 8-man rotation. My fear is with Ben Simmons being out, I would assume, and they talked about it last game, but I assume they are going to bring Trenton Watford into the mix. I know he's played a little bit this year, not a lot of minutes. I'm not saying go and play Trenton Watford. I'm just saying I think he could get some minutes. And I think you could also see Armani Brooks get a little bit of run. And honestly, this game has the ability to blow out, right? This game could absolutely just be a disaster of a game. So I'm leaning on trying to maybe stay away from some of these Nets. I want to see how the projections adjust when it comes to some of the things with Ben Simmons being out. If I played anyone on the Nets side right now, it's likely Cam Thomas for the upside that he has. But understand, you want to get that fourth quarter run, and this could be one of those games where it could be the third quarter and it could just be an absolute disaster, because I think losing Ben Simmons could be like that last piece that kind of breaks this team down a bit here and just really makes them a disaster.
Mangone. Jason Gordon's asked you this 6 times in the chat already.
I don't think you should today, because like when you play both of those guys, like you plug in Luka and you plug in Jokic, right? We'll just do the exercise because why not? We're here. You're left with 4-3 for your last couple spots, or for your 6 spots, which is in the last couple. There's a lot. You plug in Hawkins, who's an extreme value. You plug in Kelly Olynyk, and like, dude, I'm down to 4.2 for 3 spots. Like, it's just going to be tight right now. I don't think it's worth it. I do think everyone is going more balanced tonight. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of people grabbing a LaMelo ball up top and then live in that mid tier a bit with some values like Hawkins and Olynyk. But I think we need more value to do it. And maybe you do get some value later. We'll have to see.
All right. We got quite a few more games to go. We've got quite a bit more time to go. So hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. And we'll move on to San Antonio and the Knicks. So Wembanyama said that he thought Madison Square Garden was going to be bigger, that it wasn't as big as he thought. Have you guys been to MSG? It's a great place to watch a basketball game.
It's not big,
game.
but the key that he's not understanding is it's going to be different when the game is going on, right?
Yes.
Like, dude, you play in a game in like Indiana, like you did the other night. Like, I know Bryce didn't invite like 5,000 of his closest friends to go cheer on, the Indiana Pacers and Spurs. That game was probably lame as anything, right? The Knicks, it's gonna be lit tonight. The Garden's gonna be awesome. You see the playoff games there; they're absolutely insane for a garbage Knicks team. And I'm sorry that I'm making fun of the Knicks for you Knicks fans, but this team isn't that good. Jalen Brunson is awesome. The rest of it, for the most part, is kind of trash. There's a couple.
Julius Randle has been trash.
Yes,
he's always trash.
He's never been really that great.
At least he puts stats up. I mean, now he's just
he's an empty bucket. He's a fake star.
What's he doing, man? What's he doing?
Yeah,
all right, let's break this game down.
Garbage, your team is absolutely garbage.
Yeah, your team does suck. I grew up a Knicks fan. I was in high school in Chicago, though, so I took a lot of it was bad for me because Jordan just kept ruining the Knicks every single year. Anyways, Mangone, let's talk about this game. 223 total. You got any interest in Wembanyama? You got any interest in Jalen Brunson? Any interest at all in this game?
I mean, I think Wembanyama has upside here. I think he'd be better on FanDuel. I'll probably have exposure to him over there. You do need to play 2 power forwards, and he's one of those fans. I really do think Jalen Brunson at 8.3 has upside at the price. Like, I think he should be a 9K player personally. And this is a really good matchup for him. So I do truly think that Jalen Brunson is an interesting tournament play. Other than that, though, RJ Barrett's back, right? That kind of muddies some things up. And we've seen price tags increase. So for me, for the most part, I'm staying away from this game. The only guys I'd consider is a Jalen Brunson or Wembanyama contrarian spin.
We don't care that Keontae George is playing, do we? No, we don't. DC, Spurs Knicks. Any plays here, or is it a pass?
Yeah, I mostly agree with Mangone. And by the way, Holden, the Knicks losing to the Bulls had to be the least of your problems in high school. I'm sure that had to be way down.
Hey, you want to know something, man? When you're afraid of getting the job done, yeah. I mean, when you had to wait till college, yes, yeah. It was a late start for your boy over here.
You're going to see, I think, sub 5% ownership on Brunson and Wembanyama, which I think makes both of them good plays, particularly Wembanyama. We saw him play 38 minutes back on the 5th, and then follow that up with just the 21 minutes. Part of that was due to blowout. Spurs got absolutely boat raced by Indiana. But I think that's going to be a thing with Wembanyama where his minutes are all over the place. Even in that 21-minute game where they got blown out in his last game against Indiana, still put up 33 points despite shooting 3 of 12, right? Just made 3 field goals, still put up 33 points in 21 minutes, did Wembanyama. His upside from night to night is absolutely absurd. And I'll say this too. I mean, I think Julius Randle is probably going to try to go at this guy, right? He's at home. He's off to a rough start. He's against a rookie. I can see Wembanyama swatting Randle like 5 or 6 times in this game and just having a monster performance. So I think Wembanyama is a really fun GPP play. I don't know if I'd do it if I'm playing one lineup, but if you're playing 5 or 10, yeah, put him on one lineup. You're already way over the field. If he busts, okay, you got all your other teams. If he goes off, you're good on your one. So yeah, I'm going to try to mix Wembanyama in there at least a little bit. He's my favorite play in this game.
Just to address,
he's an example of a guy where, like, when you pull up your MME, like, I'm going to raise his projection and hope I get some, right? Because his ceiling's just nuts. So, he's going to be low owned, right? These low owned studs, one of these low owned studs is going to win it tonight, and he's certainly in the cards to do it.
It's something I got to fix, Max. It's Wembanyama, not Wembanyama, but I will say we are doing a show with a guy that botches more names than anybody else, and you've said nothing to him about this, but me with my Wembanyama.
I'm just going to call him Wemby going forward, so
That's such a good idea. It really is.
You got to get the extra points when you pronounce the names like Wembanyama and Antetokounmpo, right? Those are extra points. You got to get these stars.
Wembanyama.
A-Chain, right? You don't say A-Chain when these guys prove it on the field. you got to learn their names and say them properly.
K Fallick stacking that game, by the way, just so you guys know, he's rolling with Quickly, Grimes, and Hart in his core tonight. So get ready for that.
His core's already up.
No, he just said you should play value in that game, and I'm just predicting exactly what he's going to put in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I could see him being on that game, and honestly, I don't mind the strategy of like kind of condensing on a game a little bit that you like, just because again, it's like I don't know, it depends what contest you're in. I think it's better in like some of like in the contest Fallickson, I kind of like it a little bit.
That's part of the big purpose of correlation, right? Is you have to get less right to get to the top. Whereas if you plan a one-off from every game, the best one-off from all 14 games, so much has to go right. So I think it makes a lot of sense even on the big slate.
What are you talking about, Fallick? You told me that you need to play the value from that game. Maybe you're the one that's behind, Fallick. I do look forward to seeing you on the premium show as well. I didn't know you were there.
I want to see Fallick do stand-up comedy. That's what I want to see before I die. That would be good.
Could you give him jokes? Do you think he'd hit it?
No, he just needs to go.
He'd be so dry. I'd love it. I would go. I would see that. Tim D, don't answer this, guys. Who are the best 2 chalk plays and 2 chalk plays to avoid or play less of? RPS 15 or NBA 15. You can find that answer out when you go into our Discord. So you can ask these questions just like this. Who are the best chalk plays? Who are the guys that you want to avoid? You could actually tag Mangone and say, hey, Mangone, I have this question about chalk. And Mangone will get back to you and say, you're talking to the right person. And that's how it's done, right, Mangone? NBA 15, RPS 15, 15% off. Ask him the question.
Holden, if you're on the premium NFL show, what did I say? I said, don't play Bijan Robinson. I said, don't play Adam Thielen. How did they do this?
I said, play Tank Dell and CJ Stroud.
Yeah. I mean, again.
What did you say, man? Who was your play this week, DC?
I don't know, but I was on Bijan, so I got to take my own out.
I did scream about that. I'm not saying I got all my plays, but I nailed
Never again. I'm never playing them again, so you're good.
I nailed the fades, and I at least was very heavy on that Dallas game. And so I had some Houston, but not enough. So I did a pretty good job overall, but I nailed the fades. Someone said the Utah lineup is bad. I can't wait to see it.
Here. It's right here. It's George, Clarkson, Ochai, Abaji, Markkanen, and Collins.
That's an interesting line.
Yeah.
So it makes Collins really interesting. Collins at the 5.
What's Keontae George's price?
I don't know. I honestly don't know much about Keontae George.
I do. He lost me a shit ton of money in college basketball during March Madness.
We need yeah?
He's a good producer though. He's 3.8. Steve was pretty big on him.
Keontae George, just my opinion, he's going to be overowned, right? He's the starter in the first game of the night in a high total. For as big of a slate this is, there's not that much great value. I think the masses are going to flock to Keontae George more than they should. Give me, even with the news, give me Olynyk over Keontae George tonight. I know they're not exactly the same price, but still.
All right, very good. Love it. Let's move on to our next game. This man will be featured tonight. Absolutely love me some Jimmy Butler. I was asked earlier, when did you start liking Jimmy Butler? I said, when I started working with JSU, because all he would do is talk about Jimmy Butler, and then I watched a lot more. Jacob Stubbs, Mangone will legit type out a thesis that need help in Discord, NBA 15. You can go check out the thesis. It's going to be great. Ochai is a KU legend, and Keontae George is a Baylor legend. Legend, Keontae
By the way,
George.
Ochai is 3-1, where there's like a difference between like 3-1 and like George at 3.8, and it's a forward. Like it's 3-1 is dirt cheap. There's big team will talk about it up the lock will be like, he's 3-1. There's a big difference. Like, and me and him are in that camp together. Like, it's a big difference.
All right, let's move on to my.
That's dusty, man. You're looking at a ceiling of 20, I think, with Ochai.
I'll take 25. I say this every single time.
But he just said
not getting 25. I just said 20 is the ceiling.
20, not 25.
But here's the thing. DC, if you told me every single slate I could have a 3K player that gets me 18 DK points, I would literally sign up every single time.
That's the ceiling, though. That's the yes, me too.
But I'm saying 8. I mean, if he gets me 18, I'm excited about that because I get all these studs in my line.
Yeah,
I just spend for all these guys with massive ceilings. Like, He's not enough to watch.
I think Agbaji and Keontae George are going to be way overowned. Just
we should keep moving along. I think we're like 5 games in.
Relax, dude. Relax. Like I said, I'm doing the up to lock.
We're supposed to be done in 7 minutes. We're like barely into this.
Are we really? No, we're not supposed to. We got 22 minutes. Just relax, guys. Everybody wants to rush.
Do like 10 games or something.
I'm going to have to send Big T an overtime bill for all these shows that go way into the
do they? All right. Well, if Falik is on up to lock, he said Tony's not on there, so no Big T. JSU's got to be on there. There's no way he's gonna move off of that. So let's go to the next game. DC, I'll go to you. Do with what you want with the time on this game. Miami and Memphis will be the matchup. And you have any interest in the Heat Grizzlies? 218.5 total. Any Des Bane in the future of your lineups?
Pass. I'm gonna pull a Big T. I'll bring it right back to him and say I'm passing on this game.
Mangone, did you see what he did there? That's how you move a show along.
Yeah. That is. I will say I don't hate Jimmy Butler at 8-1. It's at a price where I would think about it. And also, I've said this every show, and I'm going to keep saying it. Tyler Hero at 8.3K is still a good play. He's going to be low owned, has a very nice ceiling. I will say it on every show. I will do my best to get exposure to him. I think he's a good play. So that's all I got for that game.
What does GGS stand for, by the way?
GG what?
GGS.
Good game, which doesn't really make sense.
GG's. Like when you're in the Fortnite lobby and you shit on someone holding, you absolutely destroy him. You say GG's, like see you later. It's good games.
Oh, so he's saying that to me, like good game.
Yeah, he said GG's, like it's over, like it's over.
Phila, you just extended our show by 20 seconds by typing that in there. It was such an amazing
exactly his
comment.
point, by the way. I stand with Phila on this one.
Of course, you stand with anybody on the other side of EDC.
Yes, correct.
Phoenix, Chicago.
Doesn't matter who they are or what their opinion is. I stand with them.
It doesn't matter what the opinion is.
No.
Suns and Bulls, man, Joan. Suns and Bulls, a wonderful 218.5 total. I see pass in your future.
So yeah, like the I just want to talk about this real quick, and DC's not here, so I just can't say pass. Okay. But the Bulls are plays that like their price tags are like they kind of like are baiting you a little bit, right? On a 14-game slate, I'm definitely gonna if I'm getting a lot of them, I'm gonna lower their projection. I haven't ran my stuff, right? But I'm gonna lower their projection. I think on a 14-game slate, like we get baited in them on 6-game slates and we get tilted as anything, right? I also don't hate the idea of having a rule of max of like one bull if you want, just so you don't get loaded up too much on them. And then when it comes to the Suns, sure, I mean, there's no Devin Booker, so is Kevin Durant in play? Yes, Kevin Durant is firmly in play. Definitely an interesting spend that you can get to, but he is 10.8K, right? And Bradley Beal, I know he's dealing with the questionable tag. If Bradley Beal's in, that's going to hurt Durant. If he's out, that's going to help Durant a little bit. So that's how I would break down that game, Holden. I think you got to wait in that Bradley Beal news and be very cautious with these Bulls on a 14-game.
It's a pass for DC. Second I brought the game up, he walked away. So you're off of Phoenix, Chicago, correct?
Correct. You got it, Holden. Good read.
Well, do you have any interest in Cleveland and OKC this evening? This wonderful contest in OKC, which would be Oklahoma City, with just a 228 total, and it makes me want to puke. So do you want to go or you want to fade?
Yeah, I'll be fading this one.
Good.
Lou Dort is the question mark here, I guess, which opens up a little bit for OKC, but probably not enough for me to get there. And we are seeing Cleveland get healthy, right? They've got Jared Allen ready to go, got their backcourt healthy now after kind of a banged up start for Cleveland. We know they're one of the best defenses in the league. Once they've got their, I think it's just Mobley and Allen that kind of anchor the whole defense there. So, yeah, 14-game slate. This one's a pretty easy pass for me.
All right. Then I'm going to come right back at you again with our next game. See, I told you we'd pick up the pace. It wasn't very tough. We just had to start talking about Phoenix, Chicago, and Cleveland, OKC. Maybe New Orleans and Minnesota will get you as excited as I expect you to not get about this one. So, the Wolves hosting the Pels, 215.5 total, right? I guess there's going to be a couple plays here with no CJ and Zion. So talk to me, DC. What are the plays from this one?
Be careful. Does Minnesota defense, man. I've been talking about it for a couple games. They're number one in the NBA in multiple statistical categories right now. Just beat Boston, kind of the consensus top team out of the gates at home again. And the Wolves playing with some swag right now with the two towers, Towns and Gobert in there. Smart guard, Conley's a good defender, point guard, and then Anthony Edwards has taken his game to another level, both offensively and defensively. This Wolves team looks good to me. It's not a team I want to pick on really whatsoever at the moment, including with Pelicans. I know they've got some guys out, but I think, listen, Brandon Ingram, not a bad – Zion's out.
He's out.
Yeah. So I guess Ingram, would be the play. But he's got to deal with Ant and then McDaniels, who's a fantastic on-ball defender. I think the Wolves run away with this one. I think this is a blowout in the Wolves' favor. They're favored by 9 at home. I think the defense locks down this team, and this is one that I feel comfortable pretty much fading in its entirely. I know that's a couple games in a row, but that's how this show is going to go. The good games are early. Middle games kind of suck, and then we get some decent ones on the back half. So nothing for me from Pelicans, Minnesota. I think this game is a trap, especially on the New Orleans side of the ball.
All right, 6,000 people watching. Hit the like button. So that's what we need.
We need 3,000 likes for the plays of the day. Is that right?
Sure. It's still freaking snowing. My God. It's enough already with the snow. I wasn't expecting it today. I woke up. It was supposed to be nice. Okay. That's just me talking myself out loud again. Mangone, Detroit at Milwaukee is our next game. Pistons at the Bucks. 227 is the total. I know there's some at RPS that are kind of liking this game a little bit. A little Jay Crowder, a little Giannis action. Can I interest you, Mangone, in some Milwaukee and Detroit?
Yeah, Holden, you skipped me for 2 games, but you skipped me on 2.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I knew you weren't going to talk about it.
We got plenty of time. Don't worry. We don't need to.
Mangone, we got to hurry up for the show.
Well, real quick, let me just say, the Pelicans game I have to talk because I think there are plays. About it. Me and DC disagree on the Cleveland game. We can just say GG's to that game, but this one is interesting, right? I mean, Jordan Hawkins at 4.7. That price is too cheap for him, so I like Jordan Hawkins. The chat, was frustrated to not hear as much talk about him. I think it's worth talking about. I don't hate Dyson Daniels, but I think I like Hawkins a little bit more. I don't mind Brandon Ingram as a spend, but I don't know. The more I think about it, and I do kind of agree.
I think it's a bad spend. I really do, Mango.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think this game is going to be a little bit ugly for sure. I think the Pelicans will struggle. Where I would rather play the values in this game. I'd rather play Matt Ryan in a revenge game, right? I'd rather play Jordan Hawkins. Those are the guys I'd be looking at in this game. I do think you could make a case any center against Jonas Valanciunas should at least get a mention because Valanciunas is awful on defense. So you could make a case for Rudy Gobert, but I don't know if it's great use of your salary yet. I want to wait for that tag to get to that 5.9K price tag. We're just not there.
It's not like Rudy Gobert is going to take advantage of the defensive matchup, right? I mean, he's just going to do his normal. They're not throwing him down into the block. It's just Gobert doing his normal thing. I don't think you need to adjust much for that.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm with you. And someone says Sasser or Hawkins, which Sasser is on our next game, which is a great segue for me to talk about Detroit. Sasser is definitely in play today, definitely a good value. I lean Hawkins over Sasser, but not a huge lean. I think both are really good plays. Assuming Sasser's off the bench like he was last game, right? I'm assuming it's going to be the same. Also, another reason why I lean Hawkins over Sasser, well, positions matter, right? And Hawkins is shooting guard eligible while Sasser's point guard. And I do think that there's a lot of good point guards that we're going to like. And I think shooting guard is a better spot to roster someone like Jordan Hawkins. So I think that could matter a little bit when kind of making some decisions. But I know DC talked about playing some guards against Milwaukee. I think there are some guards that are going to make some sense here. Like I said, Sasser definitely in play. We're waiting on the Duren news at 6'7". He is questionable if he decides to not play. I don't know if I'm going to get the Marvin Bagley. He's just been very frustrating. I get it, but I think it's just on a 14-game slate. I'm not super excited. And I think Killian Hayes, I played him last slate, and I'm definitely going to consider him here again, going against Damian Lillard and his defense. 4.9 is just too cheap for someone starting that has the usage that he has. So I think overall there are some plays in this game. It looks like it's Sasser. It looks like it's Killian Hayes. I don't need to play Thompson at 6'9". I think there's other plays I'd rather get to. And I need to see what's going to happen with the Duren news. That could make Bagley and Stewart come into play, but not super excited about them. And Giannis Antetokounmpo at 10-5, very good matchup where he has a ceiling. So don't ignore him in tournaments.
DC, did you want to chime in on anything before we move on to our next game?
Yeah, Detroit's interesting here. They're just so banged up that you have to consider these guys. If you look at their last game against Golden State, they played 9 guys in that game, which is a pretty short rotation anyway. But 3 of those guys, Wiseman played 11 minutes. Jarrett Roden, honestly don't know much about him, but he played 5. And Stanley Umude, another guy who college basketball international fans are going to have to chime in on his game. He played 16 minutes, but Sasser played 33, Cunningham 40, Killian Hayes 35, Oscar Thompson 38. And we know the way to attack Milwaukee, as I talked about earlier, is with perimeter players. Guess what? All those guys I mentioned are the perimeter guys for Detroit, the guys who are kind of, splitting minutes, whose role is a little bit questioned, is Bagley, Wiseman, to some extent Isaiah Stewart. So the backcourt, and the wings, the guys you want against Milwaukee anyway, seem really, really locked into minutes. So I'm a little worried about Detroit getting blown out in Milwaukee. I mean, if we just look at the rosters, Detroit really seems outmanned here. But if the guards are playing well, Hayes, Cunningham, Sasser, Oscar Thompson, they're going to get huge minutes. And I think they're going to have to shoot well to keep them in this game. I think there's upside here. And I don't mind playing these Detroit guards together. I think they're somewhat correlated, assisting each other on the perimeter. That's where they're going to have to do all their damage against Milwaukee is on the perimeter. I don't think Bagley and Wiseman and even Jalen Duren, if he does play in this game, are going to get much on the interior at all against Milwaukee. So I kind of like the Detroit guards plus Giannis stack.
Ooh.
If you're looking for to get a little bit spicy and maybe at some lower ownership, at least with Giannis.
It's kind of sexy and interesting. An interesting ploy there. RPS 15% off first payment. Hit the like button. That would be wonderful. And Mangone's up next. Lakers at the Rockets. We've got LeBron complaining about the refs again last night, although he might add a point because there was a little inconsistency. With that being said, kind of goes in one ear and out the other. We also have AD perennially questionable, daily questionable. So we'll see if do you think he plays tonight, Mangone?
I mean, I don't know if he's going to play, but good news, I can just wait and see. And
okay.
I'll just wait and see. I think he'll try. He's been trying to play a lot, so I think he'll play. But if he doesn't play, obviously there'll be some value there. For me, Holden, this will be a GG's game. We'll just move on. But I will say this, Holden, I just opened up the DK app, and I just looked. I got 7th in the soccer, and I know nothing about soccer. Not a damn thing. Shout out to Rubio Dimes and his projections over here at Run Pure Sports that he sets up in the SaberSim chat for the people. Run Pure Sports projections have been crushing it. They crushed it in college basketball for me. I got 2nd yesterday, which was nice. So if you haven't signed up, projections team is absolutely on fire. So great time to do it. NBA 15. That's what I'll say for this game.
I mean, I don't even want to talk anymore, DC. It was just such a beautiful little whatever it was that Mangone just did. I'll say soliloquy, but I don't know what that means. Just like GG's, I still don't understand it. You want to play some Lakers and Rockets tonight?
No, we're going to double down on the Mangone advertisement here. We got the best kind of niche sports guys in the entire industry, which are, of course, included with the package that gets you NFL, NBA, all the big sports. We got the best UFC guys. Rubio just crushes it, absolutely crushes it. I joke a lot that he's winning all this money on, women's high school lacrosse, but honestly, the soccer stuff, WNBA, Steve Boyden in college basketball, I know he takes a ton of pride in the product that he produces. Like the RPS subscription fee, honestly, is in ROIs, Mangone, you know this, they're higher in those sports if you know what you're doing and can kind of follow along. And our guys that are doing those sports are the best at it. So yeah,
DC, that's why I signed up. That's why I signed up for college basketball yesterday. I said a lot of these sites stopped doing college basketball stuff, and I said I'm going to play a niche sport on a Tuesday. I plugged in the projections that we have. I clicked a couple of buttons. I looked at the playbook. I X'd out the guys that weren't on the playbook. I did like 3 or 4 runs, and I got second place. I didn't know what I was doing.
Honestly, I'm pretty bad at like the promotion thing. Like it's just not my deal. And I won't say things that I don't actually believe. But we got some amazing guys doing the niche sports. If you're trying to get in on some DFS action around the clock, around the year, all that good stuff.
We had a hockey show yesterday too. Our hockey, Matty Ice and EJ's back, and we got a good hockey crew too. If you're into the hockey, did you answer me on the whole LA Houston thing, DC?
No, I'm out in this game. I took my
okay.
allotted time to promote the business.
Oh, I think that was a very good one, and the code would be RPS 15. And if you want to just type NBA 15 instead, from what I understand, that's going to work as well. So it's double good for you. Mangone, Raptors at the Mavs, 225 total. We just got news on Precious. I'm going to go back. What is he? Doubtful now. So he was downgraded just a little bit. Scotty Barnes, Kyrie Irving. Can I interest you in any plays from Toronto and Dallas, Mango?
Yeah, I mean, imagine not wanting to play the best player in the NBA, Scotty Barnes. I say that as a joke, but he also, I mean, dude, if you look at the game logs, he has gotten you at worst 44 in every single game.
He's literally been a good play every single day since the start of the season.
Yeah, and like, let's just take a look at like what some places are projecting Scotty Barnes. He's at, what is it? Like, I see him here on this one. That's terrible. Yeah, like 39. Like, why are we, like, people are crazy.
He scored at least 5 more than that in all 7.
Let me look at Sabres and ours and everything like that. I'm just pulling up a bunch of stuff. I don't want to take.
You're all going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I can pull up every projection in the industry, and it's probably wrong. I'm going to bump his projection. He's also in a matchup against the Mavs where they don't play defense. They don't have great rim protection. What is Scotty Barnes good at? Oh, against teams that won't play defense, that you can go coast to coast and attack the rim. Like, this is a great Scotty Barnes spot. Yes, he feels expensive at 8-9. I think he's a really good tournament play. Someone to look to get exposure to for sure. Luka is a little, I mean, listen, he's just 12K. He's going to have to do a lot at that price. Also, like, Dennis Schroeder is now 6'7", and there's a good reason why. He's been absolutely playing pretty well. But the reason why he's 6'7" is because Pascal Siakam is just a trash can now, right? We talked about it, DC. He was 8'3" the one show, and now he's 8'2". Don't play Pascal Siakam. He's a terrible player right now. For me in this game, I think it's firmly just Scotty Barnes or bust.
What's up with this Eason news from Houston? Where he grew 2 inches in the offseason? I don't know what's up with the Eason news. Talk to me. DC, break it down for us, buddy. Toronto, Dallas.
I could use another 2 myself, but in terms of this game, yeah, I mean, Mango, we were talking about it from the very beginning. I think we were on the first NBA main show where it looked like it was going to be Scotty Barnes, Dennis Schroeder. If you look at like the preseason usage, Siakam's role is gone. It's these 2 guys. It's Barnes, it's Schroeder. But problem is they went from, I think Barnes was at like, was he at 6.7K to start the year off the top of my head? I think so. Up to 9K now. He certainly earned it, but much harder to pay that price. Still a good play, especially at ownership. I don't know if I'll get there myself. Same with Schroeder. I mean, he's produced, so his prices come up, kind of off Toronto in general. And you're going to hear this from me a lot on these shows. I'm going to play Luka almost every time he's playing without Kyrie or vice versa. But when they're both in there, I'm not paying 12K for Luka, and I think a slower paced matchup, 225 total here. Not bad, but a lot of high totals today. Not super excited about this game with Kyrie and Luka both in the starting lineup.
All right, then we got the Warriors at the Nuggets. No Draymond Green, 227.5 total. Nuggets 4-point favorites. This team is picking up where they left off last season. It's probably even a better team too, because some of their young guys on the bench have just continued to improve. Let's see what a Jokic triple-double is today. I mean, this is just an absolute joke at this point, Mangone. They're making it almost unbettable because every freaking game he does it. Oh, we're at minus 105. I mean, minus territory there, minus money for a triple-double. You just don't see it. You have it with Jokic tonight. Jokic going to get a triple-double without Draymond playing at home?
Yeah, so one thing to love about Jokic, and I said this in the Discord chat the other night, we were just talking about the games and everything, and I was like, the Nuggets are playing Reggie Jackson and Michael Porter Jr. minutes together. You know what that means? That means we're getting buckets, right? I think me and DC could be on this court and get some buckets against them.
No.
Like, I know.
No.
I know. Yeah, we can't. But it's point is, defensively, they're so bad that the opposing team is always going to be they're going to be a turnstile on defense and putting up points. And what does that force? That forces Jokic to be in shootouts. I want to play Nikola Jokic when he's in shootouts. It makes a lot of sense with Jamal Murray out right now. Also, Aaron Gordon, really, really good play, I think, at 6'7", and has a really nice ceiling at this price. I don't hate MPJ, but he's a little too points dependent for my liking, where for me, I really want to key on Aaron Gordon and Jokic. I think they're both really good style options that we should be considering here on this slate. Curry would be an interesting spend if you can for contrarian, but he's 10-1. It's a little bit pricey. For me, it's Jokic and Gordon are my favorite two plays in this game.
DC, is Jokic getting a triple-double tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the Nuggets to win. I love Jokic at home. I was on Aaron Gordon big on that last slate. I think you can stay right on him. I think he benefits. The numbers say he benefits greatly from Jamal Murray being off the court and at home. I agree with Mangone 100%. Gordon, Jokic, my two favorite plays here, pretty much off Golden State. And I'll wrap this game up by saying neither me nor Mangone could get off two dribbles against Porter Jr. or Reggie Jackson. We're getting completely locked up by either of those guys. Listen. If I'm getting locked up by JJ and you're getting locked up by freaking Snyder, we're not scoring on that bad. So I gotta bring it back just a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, for Mangone though, Snyder did try to kill him. I mean, it was a bit intimidating.
Yeah, he's also 5'3" and 110 pounds.
He is 110 pounds.
To be fair, I did, at least I got my W against Snyder, but I'm out of commission right now. I can't be playing hoops right now, so we'll see if I can. Hopefully, I'll be healthy in time for March. We got time.
Better off for you.
Still banged up.
We got one more game to go. See, guys, we had plenty of time. We don't need to do the up to lock on time. So much time. Portland and Sacramento. The Blazers and the Kings. 220.5 is the total here. No Fox, obviously. Malcolm Brogdon, yay or nay, Mangone?
I'm more in the middle on him. I think it's a really good matchup. He's 8'2", though, is the problem, right? But he's a starter, and he's one of those very uncomfortable price tags, but he's still kind of popping up. I'm gonna say yay. I'm interested. I will say I don't know if he makes my single entry team. It's going to be a tough tag to definitely spend 8.2 on him. But in tournaments, I'll probably have him in my MME stuff a little bit. My fear with Sacramento is this team sucks right now, but they are playing Portland, who's just way worse. I think there are tournament plays that you can have some interest in. I think Sabonis at 10K can do whatever he wants in this matchup. Malik Monk, man, his price went up. I was hoping his price went the opposite way because he got in foul trouble last game, but it didn't at 6K. Kevin Huerter, I like at 5'1". I think that price tag is cheap enough where you can take a chance, but they are going deep enough in his bench where I do think that you can take a chance on him. But other than that, I'm not super excited about a lot of these other options. I think Jeremy Grant at 6'9", there is still a ceiling there. Ayton at 7K, you can take a chance on, but on a 14-gamer, it's really Brogdon or Kevin Huerter are the two guys I'm looking at in this game.
DC, last game of the night. Throw it at us, dude. What do you got?
I have a hard time paying the $8,200 price for a chalky Malcolm Brogdon, right? It's not even you're getting him unowned. I know he's been awesome in 2 games in a row. I just do still feel like he's a player that can go south due to injury or whatever else at any point. So I don't think I'll pay that myself, but I totally get it why people would. And then with, De'Aaron Fox out, I mean, Sabonis, he's been kind of pedestrian, right, to start the year, but there's no reason to think that's going to continue. So I do think he's an interesting contrarian play at center. But, I love the early games. Obviously, Charlotte and Washington where I'm looking. I probably won't have a lot left to get to this last game of the night.
All right, very good. We're done. We did it, guys. I told you everything was fine. Just take your time, get the information out. It's time now for some plays of the day. And then we're going to get out of here. DC getting blocked by an old white guy. Play of the day. What is it, DC?
We're going back to the first game of the night. Starts in about an hour now. Hopefully won't be getting rejected by a white dude with cargo shorts and a belt on.
The belt. It's the
Jordan
belt that did it.
Poole. Jordan Poole sees his first
Ooh.
monster game of the season. I think he puts up, you know what, we're going to get aggressive. 40 actual points on his way to a 60 fantasy point game, Jordan Poole.
40 points on 90 shots. All right, Mangone. Yeah, it works. You don't give a damn, right? As long as it's done. Mangone, we're going to go with an oldie but a goodie. Talk to me here, buddy. What's the Snyder Soldiers play of the day?
Yes, the Snyder Soldiers play of the day. Damn it, Snyder! One day you need to dress up as a soldier on your stream. I would literally die.
So bad.
It would be so good.
It'd be so bad.
I'm gonna go with. He might have a. I think he's gonna be like in that I don't know 10 to 15% range. Maybe it's a little bit higher than I think, but Nikola Jokic will go with. It feels like a cop out. He's like the best play, but people aren't going to be able to spend for him. I'm telling you, people are going LaMelo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and this balanced type build. I like to flip the build and flip the script at times. Jokic is in an amazing spot. I want to ride this out, so give me Jokic.
What's a Jokic plus a triple-double Jokic plus a win? If I get that at plus 160.
What is the triple-double at?
105 minus 105. Listen, you never bet. I wouldn't
bet the win. I wouldn't bet the win. I would just take, because I think this Warriors game is tough for sure. Yeah. I would just bet the triple double and move on, because he could easily get a triple double and they could lose by 20, because that's how bad.
Never bet a triple double at less than even money unless it's Nikola Jokic. It's the only time you do it ever.
Again, I honestly think Jokic could put up a triple double and they lose by 20 to the Warriors. That's certainly possible.
All right. Well, guys, wonderful seeing you. Everybody that's a subscriber, head on over. We'll be doing Up to Lock. Apparently, K. Fallick is in for Big T. JSU is always there. I'll be there as well. DC and Mangone, wonderful work today. Appreciate you seeing it. Thank everybody. I'd like to thank everybody that watched today. Hit the like button on your way out. Thanks for checking out Run Pure Sports. Keep running pure.